Hi guys, and welcome back to another Sean the Buffalo on PC4 video. Hope you've all been well. And today we are covering our big boy Eternatus in the PC4 Qualifier events, to which I'm going to be doing 2 keys. So it might be a long video if I manage to win both tournaments, could be a short one. And the build that I've gone for is just, apart from the one of Tool Scrapper and 4 Crushing Hammers, is primarily just a consistency build. I'm running also as a slight, you could say tech, 2 Chaotic Swell, because we're in a particular week where I'm finding fire to be seeing a lot of representation. So this helps turn off helps get rid of Giant Half, and obviously it also stops another one being put into play. It also helps get rid of the spike myths to make it hard for Spiritombs to hit for more damage and things as well, because they won't have spike myth to actually gain a lot of damage counters so fast. So that's the whole point of Chaotic Swell. And there are also a lot of big charm sightings, so that is the whole, and because of the Cape of Toughness as well, that's the reason why we do play a one of Tool Scrapper. Other than that, deck's pretty straightforward with your usual 4/4 counts of Eternatus and the VMAX for Crowbar. I've opted for 2 Spiritomb myself because obviously in the Spiritomb matchup I can also just use Spiritomb to take some 1-prize knockouts, and it's also just one of the best attackers that the Eternatus archetype has access to. Along with Evoltal for some additional energy denial as well, because Derail can actually provide some energy denial support whilst also dealing a little bit of damage, and it also has free retreat as well, which is very good. So other than that, deck's pretty straightforward, and this build is made in the hopes of not running into either Luke Metal or the Decidui decks, which, considering the amount of fire representation and how Volcanion in the fire decks bodies Decidui, and how we're not playing Phoebe to get around Decidui or Zamazenta, that's why I'm hoping not to run into any of those decks. So we'll be right back with some players for qualifier tournament gameplay. So we're here for the first round with our Eternatus deck, and we do win the coin flip, and we do want to go second, because decks that play Crushing Hammer tend to do a lot better if you are going second, because it does help deny your opponent's first energy attachment. Coupled with the fact that we do play 4 Marnie as well, means that it's a lot more beneficial. We are against single striker Shifu V, which is probably one of the worst possible matchups we could face. We are just going to start the Spiritomb. Thankfully we do have a Chaotic Swell in hand, which is very good for preventing the Tower of Darkness. And he does already have the single strike Scroll of Scorn. So this means he can hit for 10 plus 10 more damage. So we're not entirely fussed about dropping a damage counter onto this thing. We are going to use Crushing Hammer to unfortunately hit a Tails. And we do want to find ourselves an energy attachment, which we do. And we also managed to deny the energy off this thing as well, to make it harder for them, which is good. And realistically, we probably could do with another Eternatus. With the hand that we've started with, there's no sense in putting another Pokemon into play just yet. And if this manages to get a single strike energy onto it, it'll be doing 30 plus 10 more. So that's 40. So I'm just going to leave the active Spiritomb with no damage counter, and I'm not going to play the yeah, I'm not going to use the build in spite. So he does already have a Houndoom, which is bad for us, and he does have a research. Thankfully getting rid of another Houndoom. But if he doesn't manage to find the VMAX here, my opponent will struggle quite a lot. So he does have the VMAX, but he doesn't have another Houndoom. So it's not the end of the world. And he is getting rid of more basic fighting energy, so that's good to see. Hopefully get this guy's energy count right down. He's got 2 in play and 2 in the discard, so that benching of the Mew is a very unfortunate thing for my opponent, I would say. And he does manage to hit the 80 because of the damage. So, unfortunate things, but again, it's not the end of the world. I think here, using the Yveltal to get rid of one of these would be the best thing. Trying to get rid of as much energy as possible in this matchup, I feel, would certainly be the best thing to do. We do also find the tool scrapper, which is good. We can put this back. Get a VMAX. And realistically, I do just want to, well, let's build in spite first. Yeah, realistically, we do just want to derail. So we do find the derail, but we may not even need derail if I can get double hammerheads, which we do, which is very nice. And we're going to pop this here. We're going to evolve this one. We are going to go here and use Crobat. Oh, I misplayed already, so that was poor. We were meant to keep that Crobat, but we've only used 3 of our draw supporters and we still have resources available to us. So it's not the end of the world. And because he only has 1 Houndoom in play, he is forced to find another Scroll of Scorn. And we do find a Weakness Guard energy, which is very good. We're just going to hit this for a little bit more and pass, make it seem like we've got nothing in hand. Potentially making my opponent want to use a boss's orders, which would be more beneficial for us to see. And with any luck, he only plays 2 Scroll of Scorn. And we do just see a beat down. So there's no stone energy on this thing, and we are hitting for only 210, unfortunately. So we are unfortunately having to give up one of these. My opponent is down to 3 prizes, so that's very unfortunate. And we're just going to go here. keep this for next turn. Attach and knockout for 240 damage. So we did end up wasting a zigzagoon pin, which isn't ideal, but and we do just see a concession from my opponent. So opponent clearly had nothing in hand, which was good. Trying to capitalise, must have made a suboptimal play last turn, thinking that I had nothing in hand, but it just goes to show that, you know, Eternatus is one of those decks that you can pull something out of nowhere, which is quite so good. So, as per usual, we do have a code for one of my viewers. And I'm just going to shorten the amount of time that I do put them on camera to make it harder for the same people to get the codes. It is nice, and as you may have heard from my previous videos, I am trying to get more people to watch them. That's the whole point of them, and therefore it'd be better to make sure that more people had access to the codes that I do give out on my videos. Anyway, I will be right back for the round 2 of this Players Cup 4 qualifier. So back with round 2, and we'll call a coin flip, and we do lose it, so that probably means well, they're going first, okay? And it could seem like we're against the Eternatus matchup. So the first thing we need to do here is check the Great Ball with this hand. And we are apparently going to be against Luke Metal. That entirely changes my decision. I'm really hoping my opponent doesn't more wow me here. We are against ADP clearly. And we also need to hope not only does he not mobile me, but also hits no energy off the Brave Blade. So we see neither, which is lucky, very, very lucky. So we need to check this Great Ball. And we will put this back. Get ourselves an Eternatus. We'll say hello to my opponent. We'll put this down. And losing free energy and an Eternatus is entirely not ideal. But it's just one of those things, it's going to have to be done because we do need to advance our game state. And possibly just use another zigzagoon. On here, and we do want to be using getting rid of one of these boss orders, just get another Eternatus into play, and passing. The only reason we needed that Eternatus in play was so that our opponents cannot more while me. So this turn we are hoping that my opponent doesn't find a ADP with a big charm on it, which, considering he's running both of these items, the air balloon and the rusted sword, we're hoping that he does indeed not find that. We also need to hope that my opponent isn't playing Crushing Hammer, although he is playing the clay build, so the likelihood of my opponent not playing Crushing Hammer is very minimal. So we need our opponent to not only not find a Crushing Hammer, but also to not hit heads on that Crushing Hammer. Especially as we're down 3 energy already, it's going to make life very, very difficult. So my opponent's already attached from hand. Oh, he's attached the water to his station. That seems entirely a bad idea. The Marnie here is awful for us because we've just lost an amazing hand. And now we need something to get it back. So, this is not the hand we're looking for. We're now stuck. badly stuck. We do see the air balloon here, so there's no big charm, which is good. My opponent's probably going for a crowbar here. And doesn't get anything, surprisingly. He also ditches his Oranga in the process, or she. And Tool Scrappers herself as well. So, strange things are happening. It's gotta be said. My opponent needs 2 energy switches here. And realise that she's already attached from hand. So that's a little bit better. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to quick ball away this Spiritomb, because we know that the VMAXs were at the bottom of the deck due to my opponent's Marnie, and so was one of my Crobats. So we're just going to get this and then Marnie. We now also need to hope that we hit something off our Great Ball, because we have attack but we don't yet have knockout. So we do find ourselves a Crobat, which is very good, but what we're actually going to get, as we do have a Pokemon Communication in hand, is this VMAX. And we're going to not Tool Scrapper, because that would be an entirely bad idea. I want that thing to not have a big charm on it. So we attach here and we'll Crobat, and now we have the knockout, and we also find ourselves a Crushing Hammer to get rid of, hopefully, this Water Energy, which we do rid ourselves, my opponent, of the Water Energy, which is very good. And I don't mind leaving this Eternatus in hand. If my opponent wants to more wow me, then so be it. Although, I'm not sure if I've got full access to all of my Crobats in deck or not, and I don't want to pull one off the prize cards. Yeah, we'll keep it in hand. So that's knockout on Eternatus, on Zacian number 1. And this could be now very rough, because if my opponent does more wow me, she'll put both of these into play, which would be awful. But with any luck, my opponent will Marnie me. And I won't draw back into a Crobat as well. That's also that's also a thing that's got to not happen. So many things have got to happen against ADP for you to win the matchup, because if they don't happen, the matchup is like ridiculously hard. So now we can potentially knock out the ADP now, which I think actually I'm going to do. So we're going to grab one of these. We're going to put this down. Put this here, go here, put this down, go here, and Dread End for knockout. So that's why I didn't use the Tool Scrapper, in case my opponent did have access to a big charm, because that would have been wholly bad. But now my opponent needs to find another ADP, another energy switch, and the water, and a way to retreat, and that's just get Altered Creation without getting KO'd. So we're in a fine position, I would say. Hopefully I'm not speaking too soon. My opponent has probably got a reset stamp to go with that boss's orders. Either that, or she just wants to take KO. So we'll see how this goes. And as it is a new round, we do have another code for my viewers. So hopefully one of you guys get that and get to pull something good. So my opponent goes for a big eater, which is weird. I had the switch in hand, but that's all we needed realistically. My opponent obviously needs to stall a turn there, but that was that's the worst possible way she could have gone about it. So the next tournament is starting pretty much straight away. And we're against a fellow Players Cup 3 player. I say fellow because I played in the Players Cup 3. And we will go second. And we do have quite a nice hand. An energy in this starting hand would have been fabulous. But that's unfortunately not the case. But it's not the end of the world either. So my opponent going for a Primate Wisdom. Now, I'd love to see... we're against Luke Metal, so it's a good thing that we've got a Spiritomb in hand. We're going to go and hunt for the other Spiritomb now. He's going to Mobile me. So I guess it's another ADP deck. Which is fine. The blind Mobiles, like every opponent tries it. They just do, don't they? So my opponent, is he going to use this? The Dene? That is the question. And they are. Getting rid of a bot, an energy switch and an escape rope. So that was brilliant for us to see. And they haven't yet found themselves an ADP yet either. Finding ourselves a Marnie here would be fabulous. So we'll go here, Pokecom this back into the deck, grab ourselves another one of these, and to use the sequencing correctly we're going to be using Crobat last. So I want to find myself an Yveltal here, so I've got retreat at any point. And out of 7 cards, can we find ourselves an energy? We can. So go here, get rid of this. Get ourselves another Spiritomb into play. These Spiritombs may actually put in quite a lot of work for us. And now we'll Crobat because we know we've got research in hand, we know we've got energy attachment, and obviously never ever forget to build in Spite. I was like, what the hell was going on there? And we have a perfect hand for next turn as well because we have the Pokecom to put the Zigzagoon back into the deck. We have Switch in case he Crushing Hammers this energy off here. Hopefully we don't lose both energy to Crushing Hammers. That would set us back a lot. So there's the ADP. The Water Energy. The Switch. He now needs Metal Saucer and Energy Switch. And in case you're wondering why I benched out, these decks do tend to play 2 more Wild, and there's the second one right there. In fact, this looks very familiar of my deck, except I don't play the Aegislash or the Oranguru. Now, this is bad. Being Marnied here is extremely bad. We now need to find VMAX and all sorts. Well, we've got 2 opportunities to find VMAX. And did he find the energy switch as well? He did. So now things are looking very hard. We certainly need a VMAX. An energy attachment is good. So we're going to get this Crobat. We are going to thin another card out the deck. A Zigzagoon is what we will be needing. And now we need to find the VMAX. Can we find it off this Great Ball? Pray, pray, pray we can find it. We do! Brilliant. That is exactly what we like to see. And this ensures we can possibly get knockout on this. All we need to do is find one Pokemon. It is a Crobat, but do you know what? I'm not even fussed. And like I was saying, don't forget to build in Spite. And my opponent has a 3-card hand, so we're going to make it more difficult by using Tool Scrapper there. And getting rid of this. I didn't want to Marnie and give him a higher hand. Or larger hand, sorry. To use correct English. We had 3 energy priors, so we got very lucky with our energy attachments there, it's got to be said. And we also managed to keep our draw supporters, so that's going to be helpful next turn. Because this turn he now needs Retreat, Double Saucer and Boss off a 3-card hand. So see what my opponent does here. And he does just use Boss's Orders, and maybe we'll see a reset stamp as well. If we don't, we just see an attempt to stall. So that's very good, and we even top deck the boss ourselves. So we are just going to boss. And as I was always saying, keep building these things up. And that's a concession from my opponent. So that's the first key that I've used so far with Eternatus in these events. And I will try and jump straight back into another qualifier. So be right back. Let's get in there first. There we go, now I'll be right back. So, this is the second key with Eternatus, and it's time to find out if all my opponents have immediately switched to Rapid Strike Urshifu. Mewtwo. Mewtwo's interesting enough. And as we are going second, our Crushing Hammers and our Power Accelerator damage will be extremely good. So we see a Dedenne grab from our opponent, immediately discarding the Vileplume, which is fine. And we see a discard of a basic energy, which is also fine, and a discard of a boss's orders, which is very nice to see. And not much else from my opponent, so we'll Great Ball for another Eternatus. We will put this back, grab Spiritomb, start charging that up. And we don't have much use for this switch, so we are just going to grab our Crobat and Crobat for 6, because it'd be lovely to see a Marnie here, and we don't find one. But we do hit heads on Crushing Hammer, which is very nice indeed. And we do also get the energy attachment off the Power Accelerator. So this right here is how you get really ahead of the game, and even if my opponent uses switch, goes into the bench Mewtwo, attach the Horror Energy, or a Aurora Energy, finds the Gengar and uses Horror House GX, we have 2 energy in play already. So that's basically how you safeguard against Mewtwo. And we're very likely to see a Star Search here, if I'm perfectly honest. We may even see a Boss's Orders and a Star Search in an attempt to stall me. So this deck is extremely popular at the moment, and this is the reason why I've gone for Eternatus, because Eternatus should naturally have a strong matchup against tag teams. It does about 50-50 in the matchups against other VMAXs. And my opponent does get rid of the Latios and the Incineroar. And honestly, I know they've got another Dedenne in hand, but I would have liked to have seen them use that last, unless they only run 1 copy of Guzma. I would have liked to have seen them attempt to use the Dedenne first and then attempt to Guzma, because that would have guaranteed them Horror House, but in this case they are just going to Star Search, so I mean, we may as well go for the Crusher Hammers, because why not? And I got rid of the wrong one. And we're just going to get rid of this Boss's Orders. We're hopefully taking out the active this turn, so that's why I'm disguising the Boss's Orders, because I don't plan to use it this turn. And I don't think we have Knockout at all, unfortunately. So, first of all, let's not forget to do this. And we know this deck has no other way of charging up extremely fast, so I'm just going to put this back, get the VMAX into play, and put myself out of range of his what's the word? Wait, can I take KO on this? Let's think. So 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 210, 240. With the Tool Scrapper, we do actually take Knockout. So that's 240. So the Tool Scrapper was a useless card in the deck at the moment. That's why I just used it, because my opponent could have a big charm, but now we're ahead, and if we get reset stamped, it's a card that we don't get reset stamped into. So that is one of the things we had to do there, because Tool Scrapper at that point would have been a card that wouldn't have accelerated our board state at all. So I don't see what my opponent can do here. He could potentially Horror House, but to no avail realistically. So he's going to use Boss's Orders and potentially Horror House from there, if he's even got the Gengar in deck, which he doesn't. In the discard, that is, sorry. He may have it in hand, he may have drew it for turn, and we do just see a Star Search. So we're down none of our other VMAXs, and we still have a bench space open. So we're going to go here, here, find the VMAX. Never forget to build and spite, and research. And we do find the other basic that we needed. And that was a quick game, and that is why, again, I've chosen Eternatus for today, because tag teams really have very little to no chance. Pikarom is a mild exception because they have so much energy denial and the fact that they have the wombo combo of paralysis and reset stamp, but that's all they've got really going for them. So we'll be right back for round 2 of the second qualifier of this video in just a sec. Be right back, guys. So round 2 of the second key in this video, and we do lose a coin flip again. But we do have a code for my viewers. Once again, hopefully, if you do pull something good from the codes that I give out in the videos, please feel free to drop a comment and just let me know. It's just nice to hear back from the people that do get codes from my videos. Now, this is not the worst opening hand ever. We are unfortunately losing the boss's orders. And we do need another return system to play. And we would very much like an energy attachment, which we do get, thankfully. And here we are also going to get down our Spiritomb as well. And start powering that bad boy up. Now, that is realistically all you can ask for from an Eternatus, first turn. Having 2 VMAX onto the board, an energy attachment. That's all you need really, and something to play your next turn with. That's obviously ideal. Not dead drawing, because dead drawing obviously is the killer of this deck. Seems like you only have Crobats in this deck. It's not like every other deck where you get a Crobat and a Dene and everything else, all that shenanigans. So let's see what my opponent goes for here. Goes for another Dene. Another air balloon coming down means we're going to maximise our tool scrapper usage. And the loss of a boss orders is good for us because we know that these decks tend to play 2 tool scrapper. And he only got 1 mad partier in the discard pile as well, so that's very good for us. Probably see another Sinistea come down here, or perhaps even, oh well, he's going to use Professor's Research now. So obviously just thinning out all of the good cards out of the deck. And I feel like my opponent is playing it wrong because realistically you want it to be, well, here we go. Now it makes more sense because he obviously has an energy in that hand that he wants to keep. What I was going to say is what he should have been doing is using Quick Ball for other things. So this is good for us to see. We know my opponent won't be playing more than 2 of these, and if he is, it'll take him quite some time to find them, I would expect. So we're going to put this on here, I think. And we get majority of what we could ask for. And the reason why I put that damage counter there is because Spiritomb can take a knockout down the line on that thing. So that's all we're going to go for there. We have indeed used attachment for turn, so I don't want to be doing anything else. taking knockout where I can. Now, the reason why I didn't Marnie is, or try and find a way to Marnie, is because we knew that my opponent will be taking precautions to attempt to save energy as he would have done last turn, which is, there it is. And he probably has the research in hand as well. He could have a dead hand, potentially. It's very unlikely. There's another one of them, and he's going to use Giovanni's Exile to get rid of his Dene, which is fine, because he now has an empty hand. So, we're just going to ping this, switch into this, and just use Derail. And there's another Spirit seems to be acting with. So the reason why we only bumped them up to 20 is because all their attackers have less than 70 HP. So there is literally zero use in doing anything else. It does seem like my opponent was dead drawing, and that's again why you don't use Marnie. You just, if your opponent's dead drawing, what's the point in using Marnie? So we'll be right back for the final round of the second cup. So back for round 3 of the second cup, and that's the third coin toss we've lost in a row, but the third time my opponent has chosen to go first. So we're against ADP again, most likely, and this guy's obsessed with going first because he thinks his path to victory is just first turn more Wailing, and that is not the case. As we'll see soon enough. A second Crobat. So this guy plays 2 Crobat and 3 Dene. And he's probably going to be using Dene right now. So using more Wild, and see he's hitting 1 Zigzagoon. Like, I literally do not care about that at all. And he's got the big charm, which is fine. We'll see all the tools he puts into play. I know that these decks only have space for 1 tool, so and we hit the heads on that thing, which is good. And my opponent's obviously fuming because, what else could you be except fuming from this hand? And I'm not even going to bother using Crobat because, like, what's the point? I've got an amazing hand for next turn. If my opponent plays Crushing Hammer himself, I'm not entirely fussed. Unless he plays 2 and hits heads on both. So if my opponent dares go for another Mawile, and he does, is he going to outplay himself? No, he's not. So he's stupid, but he's not that stupid. Don't be first turn Mawiling, people. Just because they're playing a turn test doesn't mean you're going to win if you first turn Mawile. Like, that's not how it works. And now because my opponent's attached here instead of here, if I take this knockout now, he's going to be even further behind. So it's just one of those things, and that's an amazing top deck to get as well. We do miss the we are going to miss the knockout, unfortunately. I'm pretty certain. But if we can get this off here, this onto here, and my opponent can no longer Mawile me entirely, so these may come to nothing, but I'm going to attach this here, and I'm just going to Dread End, because, I mean, there's nothing else that really needs to do there. Well, there's nothing else that I could do with that hand, sorry, because I drew no Pokemon support at all. And my opponent's retreating. And all these things are fine because he's not using boss's orders. He's just getting rid of a bunch of things. He's just got rid of 2 boss's orders. He can alter creation and get knocked out, which is fine. And is my opponent going to Big Eater? No, he's going to Wild Bite. So that's fine. We are losing the boss's orders, unfortunately, and last turn we did forget to use our Building Spite, as I was talking so much about. I'm not at this point fearing a 3rd Mawile, so I'm not going to bother to use anything else. I could potentially get the Yveltal into play. The Yveltal would be nice to have as a pivoting option. And, I mean, we could even... Yeah, we can Crobat here. Crobatting is fine. Because if we'd found a switch, then we would have been able to attack with a fresh Eternatus. Now my opponent needs Double Saucer and Attach to get the knockout of the station, and then after that he'll have nothing anyway, so not too fussed. Just this ADP deck is not the best ADP out there, clearly. Like, that's all for nothing, because now if I add a single energy, which I do, and we're going to go into this one, we will Build and Spite, Build and Spite. We're going to Quick Ball away this Eternatus, we're not going to need another one, get the other one, and we're going to stick it at the bottom of the deck with our Marnie, because nothing in that hand we need other than energies, that's which we've got here, there and everywhere. Yes, I am sure I want to do this. And switch is all I wanted, just in case of another boss play. I would have liked boss orders in my hand myself, and we do instantly pull off the prizes, which is sick. So, I mean, what can my opponent do here? He needs to find Reset Stamp. I mean, that much is for certain. But even if he plays it now, then it's a waste of a Reset Stamp. He doesn't know that I've got the boss in hand, he knows that I'm down 1. Marnie may work for my opponent, but no, it's just another scoop. So that is 10 points out of 2 for Mr. Eternatus. Sorry about that, I accidentally pressed stop recording for whatever reason. I'm just going to reopen the deck list. So, is the deck good? Of course it is. Is it good against everything? No. This build has the best overall match, I find, because it's all well and good that you can play one-off cards like Phoebe and things like that to help you get through Decidueye and a Palpad to get the Phoebe back. Get the Phoebe back. But Eternatus is only good because of how consistent it is. And if you're playing tech cards like that are way over the top, especially as a supporter, you can only use one per turn anyway. That basically means in some instances, if you don't have the energy attachment, that you're going to be looking for energy, Phoebe, and Crobat just to build your hand up so you've got options for next turn. It's just, that seems like stupid to me, really. So you're better off playing the version of the deck that has the better spread overall. And considering Fire has seen so much popularity at the moment, the Galaxy Mew free deck is like insanely popular. I don't think I've played a tournament where I've not been against that deck. And it's a ridiculously good deck as well. Like, don't get me wrong, it is that good. It really is. Dragapult is everywhere, obviously to stop Rapid Strike Urshifu. Rapid Strike Urshifu itself has gone down in favour like quite a lot, and it may go back up in favour after seeing this video. So that's all for today, and that's all for this deck. Hope you've all enjoyed watching. 10 points with 2 keys. Obviously, it speaks for itself. Eternatus is an amazing deck still, and it forever will be, honestly. Until we lose weakness guard energy, that is. So if you enjoyed the content, please drop a like on the video. It means a lot to me. Please subscribe to the channel. The more subscribers, the better, because eventually I'll be able to give out more of these things to my viewers. And also, if you press the notification bell, it does mean that you will be in line to be first to watch my videos when they are published and attempt to get those codes that I do put into my videos. That is obviously very good for you guys. If, as well, you would do me a massive, massive favour and comment in the comment section if you do get any of the codes from my videos. Just leave a comment if you pulled anything good. It's nice to hear back from my viewers each and every time that I have done. So yeah, so that's all for this video. Thank you all for watching. I've been Sean the Bufflon, and peace out, guys.